Hey, what's going on, guys? Looking for Mighty Reptiles here with my dad and with our little guy Pablo here. He's our little rabbit. And never really get to show him off on video much, even though
Some people are asking if we have any other pets. And other than all the rats and mice we have, it's just him.
Yeah.
Although, over the years, hamsters and frogs and what else did you have?
We had a tarantula for a couple days.
Yeah, tarantula that climbed the wall.
Like scared me. But other than that, you guys have seen us breeding our own rats, and just thought we'd make a little video on it as far as the little starter information for it. So just all information you need to start your own collection, if we really advise that you have your own collection and stuff like that. And he's really the brains behind the whole operation, so he's gonna be doing most of the talking.
Well, the first question is, do you want to do it or not? I mean, compared to doing the snakes are so much easier to care for than the rats and the mice. They are, not only do they smell a lot more, but they are just a lot of work. The tubs are a lot tougher. You have to do them more often, especially the mice. You really need to be out there frequently. Whereas you can get the snakes to be pretty much self-sustaining. You just keep an eye on them every day. It's not as much work. But when you go out there to take care of the rats and the mice, it's a chore. That's a day.
They are perpetually pooping. There is no stop.
Yeah. So again, the biggest question is, do you really want to? And for anyone who has less than 10 snakes, and I'm just pulling that number out of the air, I wouldn't even consider it. You know, find somebody you can go buy them from, buy frozen, convert them over to frozen. It's just not worth it. If we had our way and could get everyone to switch over and money were no object, I'm not going to say we would do frozen again, but we would consider frozen. There's some bigger benefits than just it's easier. Well, it's easier not having to do with the rats and mice. Feeding frozen is a whole different animal. Those of you that do it know, if you've got to feed 100 frozen, it's a big job, you know, thawing everything out and trying to get them all to, you got to do the zombie dance, and it takes a lot longer. Whereas if you've got live, you're just dropping them in and they're hitting them. That's the other part of the equation, is when you feed live or pre-killed, your feeding response is much better. That's been our experience. Yes. Maybe that's only our snakes, but they eat so much better. Every Wednesday's our feeding day. They're out looking. They're at the front of the tub. They know, and they're looking. When we were doing frozen, we didn't see that so much. So the first question is, do you want to do it or not? There is no doubt it's cheaper once you get to raising your own.
Yeah, once you reach like the number, like how you put 10 out there, like if you're getting at least like your litter sizes equal to your snakes, it's completely worth it. But you want to like factor in that you're paying for their bedding, food. It's just a whole nother side of it. So once those equate out, then yeah, it's definitely worth it. Yeah,
you're still paying for it. It's just not as much. In general, now we're out of control. I don't even know how many. We probably have a couple of hundred rats. I would
go even higher than that. I would say we're up towards 4.
Yeah, I don't think we're that high. But we have quite a few mice too. We have over 100 mice. So it's all grouped together. But we're buying a couple of bags of feed. We switched on bedding. We initially were doing aspen shavings. They're expensive. We do pine shavings. We don't have any problems with them respiratory wise with pine shavings, or we went to pine shavings, and we switched a month or 2 ago to pine pellets. So we do a combo of pine pellets and shavings.
It's pretty much a 50-50. I just fill the bottom with the pine pellets to where I don't see any of the black, and I just stack the shavings on top so that I have somewhere warm for all like the babies to like nest in and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I don't think it's quite a 50-50 ratio on it. We do, you know, maybe we're close. Maybe it's in there. The thing with pine pellets you'll see is you don't want to put too many in because they absorb a lot of moisture. So the level is increasing in the tub. If you put too much in thinking you're going to make it last longer, you're going to have them up, you know, scraping their backs on the top of the tub after, or on the top of the rack. So you got to be careful about that too. Anyway, that's what we're doing. We're probably putting out, like I said, a couple of bags of pellets, We're doing more than that. We're doing like 4 bags of pellets. That's about 35 bucks. 1 bag of shavings a week, that call it 45, and another 40 for 2 bags of food. So that's 85 bucks, but we have a lot of them out there. We have, like I said, we have a lot of rats, we have a lot of mice. As far as how we set it up originally, you can go and, I mean, if you want to go whole hog and buy the Freedom Breeder or the ARS racks from, you can do that. I think you've seen enough of us to know we're no strangers to the 99-cent store and to Craigslist. So
that's how we met Mike.
Yeah, that's how we met Mike at AEP. We have picked up a lot of our racks from people just getting rid of theirs. We picked up 1 rack for 20 bucks. Picked up others for 25. Picked our maternity rack up for, I think it was 50, something like that. All good stuff, all complete. We added watering systems. We have bought 2 that were brand new. We've got a guy that, the same one that built these racks right behind us, does those too. In general, to have a good rack done would cost you about 150 bucks, but that'll be 5 or 6 tubs high. You can generally put 5 females to a tub. If you want to run a separate maternity rack once they're pregnant, you can do that too. But we run ratios generally of 5 females to 1 male. With the mice, we run higher. We're running 7 or 8 to 1. Yeah. And doesn't seem to be a problem. Rats in general are pretty easy. You can have just 1 tub set aside for males and put all the males in there, and then when it's time to breed the females, you just toss them into each tub. Put them in there for a couple of weeks and then pull them back out. So it's a constant rotation. Once you're doing it, you'll see how many you need. But as far as figuring it out, we can get about 5 litters a year out of each of the females. And if you say you're averaging 10 babies, which is right around in the ballpark, 10 babies per litter, that means each female is producing 50. That means for each female you have, you're going to get 1 baby per week on average out of her. Yeah. So figure out how many rats you need per week. If you need 20 females. We'll give you about that. You may want to go a little bit over just so you're sure and you have some extra. So
nobody's starving. And one thing that you have to also realize is that your litters are going to kind of run together a little bit. Unless if you just put your male in with all your females, they're not going to separate out 1 per week so that you have the exact sizes. They're going to run together a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like anything. You're going to have your ups and downs. Some more will be born 1 week than other weeks. Oh, I was going to say the thing about rats too, with the males, you can put them all in together and they'll exist just fine, with the exception of one of ours.
One of ours is like a sewer rat from New York that doesn't take nothing from no one.
He's huge. He's about the size of that rabbit, and he won't get. He always has to be the boss, and he's got to let everybody know. So he tears the other ones up. But in general, the rest of them get along fine. We have to separate him out. Mice, on the other hand, you put 2 males in together, and one of them's going to be dead by the end. Mm-hmm. They're going to tear each other up. So you've got to find out a little bit different system.
Yeah, as far as the rats go, if you just mess up and your male's still in there when your females are having their babies, there's generally no issues. Yeah. But it is not the same case with mice. Not at all. No, like the males will just take out any of the other males. It is not a fun thing to have experience because it is a death match. Yeah. Because they're really competing, whereas the rats are just really chilled out. It's weird.
On the other hand, one of the nice things about mice, the females, is they do like a co-op on their babies. They'll put all the babies in a big bundle in the middle, and they take turns feeding them. It's pretty fun to watch. Because they spread out. They've got their arms and their legs, or their front and their back legs all spread out. So they're pretty cute. The rats, moms seem to spend more time stealing from each other, so that's where a maternity rack can be good. You take the pregnant moms out before they have their litters, and you put them in a separate tub each, or sometimes 2. But we see them, you have a mom that's got babies that are pretty good size, not quite wieners, stealing newborns away, and then the newborn's not getting anything because the bigger ones are taking it first. So they're not quite as good, but the mice are just great moms.
Yeah, one thing that also goes without saying is that it's a little tough when you see these things born and growing up, and you're like keeping your eye on them, and you get to literally watch them grow up until the size that they go into your snake. It's something that you have to get used to, is that you have to learn to not get attached, because they're going to be cute. Ow, he bit me. even when we don't have snakes in the video, I'm getting bit. But it's just something that you're gonna have to get used to, because inevitably you're raising your own food. So if you're gonna get attached, because these little guys are really adorable, especially when they're first like getting their hair, and they have cute little personalities before they realize that that you're gonna be stealing them for food. And it's tough. Like, you're gonna have to really get over that and get used to the fact that they're cute, but they're not gonna be there.
No, they're food.
Yeah.
No, I grew up on a farm. Well, I can't say I grew up. I spent a few years on a farm when I was a kid, you know, raising animals, and then you butcher them and you eat them. So to me, it's just kind of the way it works. Logan, it's a little bit different. And
I pick out the cute ones, and I have my own little breeding projects where I try to see how cute I can make them.
And then I don't know anything about it, so I feed them. So.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Okay, what else did you want me to talk about for this?
No, I think that's pretty much it, other than
let me just say
different sizes. Like,
what is for sizes?
Like, just obviously like don't like knowing when to wean and like different stages. You'll be able to recognize these really easily, but like on your first go around, don't be too quick to separate the babies and the moms. Like I let them wait a couple days after I even see the babies eating the food off the top of the rack.
Yeah, give them a little bit.
Yeah, before making them completely independent.
And that doesn't mean, I mean, if you need to feed that size, that doesn't mean you can't go and be taking those. We're taking pinkies away, newborns away, when we need them for our hatchlings. So, I mean, you can definitely be taking those. It's just, don't take them away from the mom too fast. You're not doing yourself any favors with that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and definitely I would recommend keeping majority of your females, just because for one, they're really hard to buy. You're gonna realize that when you try to even start your collection, it's quite a task to ask a breeder for some females,
right? Because
they're only gonna want to give you males. But other than that, it's just definitely like keep your stock growing, especially if you have a growing collection.
Yeah. And part of that in doing it in the beginning, and we did this ourselves, you're not feeding them, or you're just feeding a few males. You keep growing them up and turning those into breeders too for the first few months. And then after that time, then you'll be able to start culling some out and feeding them all.
Yeah, it's definitely not an instantaneous thing. You're gonna have to realize it's gonna be exponential. So you're gonna have to grow your babies up, and then your babies are gonna have to have babies before you're really in a soft spot.
And we've had a lot of problems with that, because you saw how our snake collection grew. You know, we went from 40 to 100 really quickly, and we had to shut down pulling rats out from out in our room because we just needed all of them to grow. What's he doing now?
He's being cute.
Oh.
He's being
Which
Pablo.
is amazing. How old? He's over a year old now.
He's over a year. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna become a girl pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to happen.
Anyway, one other thing I wanted to say is, if you do decide to do it and you get into where you're having more than one rack, which would be, again, 5 or 6 tubs, invest in a water system. It's going to cost you a little bit. Put a 5-gallon bucket up on top with tubing down to automatic waters that they can hit. It's going to cost you, for one rack, probably $50 to do the whole thing. That might be a little high. And you can have one bucket fill, do like 3 or 4 racks too. We're not big enough to where I can tell you what the ideal ratio is, but definitely you're going to want to do that, because filling water bottles gets really old to do, because it gets in the summertime. Like now, we have 1 or 2 racks that are on water bottles, because we haven't gone out and hooked up the water system, because we want to redo the room like we were talking about. And we're hitting those like every 18 hours. They need to be refilled.
Twice a day.
Yeah, so definitely switch over as fast as you can. And
it's not as easy as it seems. It's not, don't expect it. It's just kind of like how people assume breeding snakes is, where you're just putting males in with females, when it's really, there's a little bit more to it. There's a lot of checking that needs to go on, because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of issues that can go on there, like especially with the automatic drinking stuff. They chew through those things, and you can just come back to see an entire tub flooded and see all of your babies might be gone, and then you're gonna have your adults swimming.
Yeah.
It's a chore. You need to be on top of it, and it's going to take probably twice the amount of time that your snakes do.
It's just like breeding snakes. People see, you know, you've got eggs, you're having babies, you're doing cuttings, it's all fun. But when it comes right down to it, everyone who breeds knows it's a lot of work, and people don't see the work. When you see people out at the shows, of course they're all happy and great. This is the fun time. This is where they get to enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Yeah.
You know, all the cutting videos and the little hatchlings and everything. That's all fun. But it is work. Rats and mice are even more work, but it's significantly cheaper. Okay, here's Pablo and his good buddy Tuco.
So I got these guys relatively around the same time. I got Pablo roughly, like, I want to say like 4 months before Tuco, and they were just buddies ever since. So Tuco used to hop up on his ears and they would go and just have a good time. It's just, there's not even a concern when it comes to these guys. It's just, it's a really cool little duo that they got going on.
Yeah, we'll see when he weighs 1,500 grams.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut that out when it comes to that time, but for now it's cute and it's really unexpected. Nobody expects them to be like cool with each other. But yeah, this is just something that I didn't even expect. It was something that happened on accident. He busted out of his cage, little Pablo, and just came up and licked Tuco. So, and then from that day forward, they were like best friends. Look at that. You gotta get it from this side. Just look at how cute this is.
What's up, Pop?
Oh, you scared him.
He's licking him. He was licking his tail, and you don't lick the tail.
You guys are cute. Alright. So yeah, like the video if you guys enjoyed, or if these guys are cute, like the video, and then subscribe if you haven't already. This is going to be coming out after our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, so I believe we're doing 1,500 next. And other than that, we hope you guys, we'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, see ya.